We built this country. America belongs to us, the white Anglo-Saxon Protestants. You get all these minorities from Africa, from South America. They don't show respect when they're in your home.
You sound racist, Joel.
You said you've sat down with a lot of these Jewish people.
He had compared the Armenian people to Amalekites. And he said that these people are the Amalekites of the Old Testament and need to be wiped out to the last man. But in 100 years, if there isn't a diversion in its current course, there will be only 1,000 Armenians left in Armenia.
You don't think that's being done intentionally, though?
And I got to be careful how I answer that question. Trump is a great guy. He's pushing back a little bit, I think, because he's seeing how enraged the American public is. And he can see that there's going to be either civil war or a revolution take place if we keep supporting Israel.
Or loss of credibility?
The Republican Party's done. And it's the same with the Democrat Party. The Democrat Party's done too, because neither of these parties represent the American people. The Democrats represent all the people who aren't from America. The Republicans, the only people that they represent is Israel.
Happy Monday, everybody.
TGIM.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere, and we wanted to give a special thank you all the way from Armenia. And
Armenia.
But here's
not
the thing.
like Glendale or Hollywood, Armenia.
I mean, I know we have the second largest population of Armenians outside of Yerevan in LA, but as soon as Joe swaps the camera over, do not be shocked. Yes, this man does live in Armenia.
And you know where of all places?
Albovian.
Yeah.
Your hometown.
My birthplace.
Yeah.
Albovian.
Shocking.
Yeah.
Thank you to Mr. Joel Tenney for taking time to be with us.
Barev higher.
Barev.
How you doing, bud?
Good.
How was the flight in?
It was crazy. I mean, I didn't just come by myself. I came with my wife and 6 children. So traveling with that many children is always fun.
I could only imagine the airline bills you're racking up when you're flying back and forth.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Do you fly in with like Qatar or Lufthansa? Just don't say Turkish Airlines.
Well,
it's the shortest flight now, no?
You flew in with Turkish Airlines, didn't you? You.
No. Listen, forgive me, but I will say this. 99% of the time, we fly in with Qatar.
Uh-huh.
Lufthansa sucks. Turkish Airlines is pretty good. And it's the fastest flight. Yeah, if you're flying out of Chicago. So, you know, when you don't want to waste time and you want to get back to beloved Armenia as quick as possible, you might have to fly Turkish every once in a while.
Oh, the irony.
If you want the nicest flight, though, fly Qatar. Always Qatar.
I mean, September was the last time I was in Armenia in 22 years, and we flew through Lufthansa. We were actually in an Airbus, the double deckers. Phenomenal flight. I'm surprised you said it sucked.
Were you on a double decker when you went from Paris? Was it Paris you had to layover or Warsaw?
No. It was it was in Frankfurt.
Okay. But you weren't on a double decker from Frankfurt to
No.
Armenia.
You were on the typical kind of like I would maybe call it a Southwest or Spirit Airlines salvaged airplane flying in from Frankfurt to Armenia.
Okay.
You felt everything there flying into Armenia.
Yeah.
But it's a short flight. That one is
that was a very short flight.
Yeah, that one's not bad. Ultimately, always take Qatar. I mean, if you have kids, they're amazing with kids. The flight attendants, the stewardesses, they like literally took the baby off of my lap and they let me sleep for 6 hours. And they just took her upstairs into their cabin for the flight attendants.
You're kidding me.
Yeah. Because we talk about racking up those bills. We have 6 children. 1 is a baby. And so in order to save on the airfare cost, we just put baby in lap so we don't pay for the extra seat. And so the flight attendant took them away for 6 hours and we were free. It was nice to get some sleep.
Nice.
I'm going to try that with my kids next time.
Yeah.
Just get 2 lap seats and see if they'll...
I mean, we should try it on a flight somewhere where we're traveling. Maybe book me as the big...
You guys mind taking my baby upstairs, putting him to nap in your first class?
Not to disappoint you, but it only works from age 0 to 2.
I mean, yeah, it probably won't work. But let me ask you this: where are you from originally?
How do you mean?
I know you're Scottish.
Okay, there we go.
But as far as your family, are you guys out of Los Angeles or are you from the East Coast? Where are you guys from originally?
We are from Iowa.
From Iowa. Interesting. And how did you hear about Armenia?
Man, it was just a God thing that happened in my life. Going back to September 27th of 2020, I was praying and the Lord led me to sell everything that I had, to take all of my funds, my savings, and to start supporting the Armenian widows from the 2020 Nagorno-Karabakh war. And that's how we started Loving Armenia. Was we started serving the people, and we got to know the people. And when we got to know them, we started to love them, and it changed our lives in a big way.
I'm surprised that in Iowa there was news about the 2020 war.
Well, there wasn't.
So how did you hear about it?
If I told you, you wouldn't believe me.
Try us.
I was praying. And when I was praying, the Lord dropped Armenia, Armenian widows. Never heard of them before. So I went and I told my wife, this is what I'm hearing from the Lord. And my wife's like, how do you know it's the Lord? And I said, well, the Lord is clear in the Gospels. He said, my sheep know my voice. So when God speaks to you, you're going to know it. But I wanted to get a confirmation. So I went to my Bible, which belonged to my great uncle, who was a preacher. It had just been given to me by my great aunt because he had recently passed away.
Mm-hmm.
And I opened up this Bible, and he never highlighted anything in his Bible. He only wrote with a pencil. And there was one verse that was highlighted. It was James chapter 1, verse 27. And that verse says that the religion that is pure and undefiled in God's sight are them that attend to the needs of the widows and the fatherless and abstain from the things of the world. And so that verse was highlighted, and I went and showed my wife. And I said, this is a call. But when we had looked up on Google, Armenian widows and fatherless, there was nothing that we could find. We found stuff about a war which took place 30 years ago. But later on that day, news came out that we saw there was a war that broke out that day between Azerbaijan and Armenia.
Interesting. And that was your calling.
Yeah. And in our religion, I mean, we were Pentecostals. And so in our religion, that's normal to pray and to seek for God to speak to you. Now, when you're Catholic or you're Orthodox, it's not usually something that someone expects to happen. They don't expect to pray during the liturgy, during Vespers, or your own personal prayer time and expect God to actually speak to you. But God does, and the Bible says that we can hear him speak to us, and it's a still small voice. When I studied the lives of Armenian saints, Saint Gregor Lusavich, who led the country into Christendom, into Christ, the first nation to be a Christian nation because of this one man's witness. I mean, he battled with the devil. This guy battled with himself. He battled with God in that pit Horvidop next to Mount Ararat.
Yeah.
For 13 years, he was in prison there. And when we empty ourselves of ourselves and allow the Lord to begin to speak to us, he's going to lead us to do crazy things. Saint Gregory was studying in Cappadocia. He was studying theology. He was studying Christianity. His parents were royalty, and his father was responsible for the death of Tiridates' father.
Mm-hmm.
And
Dartats, yeah.
yeah, the weird thing is he ends up working for the son, Tiridates.
Yeah,
right?
he became the first Catholic or Katholikos of Armenia, basically.
Yeah, but before that, before he was in prison, he was working for the king of Armenia, which was the son of the guy his father killed. And so the crazy thing is, you have to imagine only God could have led him there. Or like Saint Thaddeus, right? And Bartholomew. These guys hanging out in Jerusalem. What in the world brought them there? Bartholomew gets skinned alive in Armenia, you know?
Yeah.
Like, God has led people throughout the centuries, is my point, to nations, not just Armenia, but around the world. And it's those who listen to his voice. Like he says, my sheep will know my voice, and We listened to the call. It came at great sacrifice. My father-in-law thought I was insane. He's like, wasn't for what we were doing, that it was crazy. I mean, my whole family did.
Well, yeah, you're taking his grandkids away.
Yeah.
I was going to say, wasn't your community critical of your decision? Because to pack up and...
Well, to sell everything, to give everything away. I mean, I left my job. I was working construction. I was making good money. I had just been promoted to be the foreman of our crew, which was really cool. But to get rid of all of that and all of your success and all of your endeavors here stateside and to abandon everything. I mean, that's what it looks like. It looks like a reckless abandonment. And that does seem crazy. And at the time, everybody thought it was. Until they saw me next to President Trump, until they saw me working in the political world, until they saw me doing speeches for the president, then things began to change. Then they were like, okay, maybe God is leading this guy. Because how I met President Trump was because my work in Armenia was being recognized. And because of that, he wanted my endorsement. And I ended up playing a role in a lot of things that have happened since. I mean, Trump's call to the Catholicos Aram of Kilikia, the post that he made on Truth Social, a lot of that is because of the work that I specifically did next to President Trump during his campaign. And I wanted to promise that he would stand with the Armenian people, that he would recognize what they've gone through. It really comes down to this. As a Christian, I have to support the first Christian nation. If not, I'm a hypocrite. Whether you're Pentecostal, you're Catholic, you're Orthodox, our great-great-grandparents in this country did. We raised billions of dollars, not just through Near East Relief, but many other organizations. Before Woodrow Wilson, there was a President, Herbert Hoover. Before he was president, he was working in the United States. He was collecting all this money. He was working at the forefront of saving Armenian Christians. And almost the entirety of Western Armenians' lives or their existence is owed to the American intervention. If it wasn't for American interventionism, we wouldn't have the Armenian population we have today. It would be estimates say about 4 million less globally. That's crazy. I mean, you think about the orphanage in Gyumri. You think about the American orphanages all over the Middle East, in Beirut, in Syria, in Palestine, in Damascus, right? So all of these came through Christians. That the money had to come from somewhere. And it was churches that were collecting. I mean, when the Near East Relief Fund had posted their financials, right? They had collected from almost every single Christian denomination in America, from the heads of the denominations. And the heads of the denominations condemned the Turkish aggression against Armenians. Yeah, I'm pretty radical, and people say I'm very political too, because I have a Christian worldview, and my Christian worldview shapes my politics, right?
Were you involved in President Trump's campaign in 2020, or was it in
all three of them? I gave the caucus speech for him in my county, at our school, in our town, in the 2015 campaign. In the 2020 campaign, I was knocking doors for him. And most recently, in the 2024 campaign, I was knocking doors, making phone calls, became a caucus captain, gave a caucus speech, spoke for him at events.
And this is simultaneously living in Armenia.
Yeah, back and forth. I mean, I've been to Armenia 15 times in the last 5 years. So that should tell you
how
16
long,
times.
How long, do you guys have residency there? Do you own a home or rent a home there?
No.
So when you guys are going to Armenia, you're staying at like an Airbnb or a rental property?
Airbnbs usually.
And how long are you guys there for when you do move to Armenia or travel to Armenia?
We were just there for 6 months. So we just came back. We'll be here till September 1st, and then we go back to Armenia.
So you're going to take the family to Armenia for the winter, basically.
Yeah.
And how do you guys manage? Well, I mean, you guys are from Iowa, so winters in Armenia shouldn't be too scary.
No, they're not bad at all.
Yeah, I could only imagine.
So you're visiting LA, you're gonna go back to Iowa and then stay there till September, then go back to Armenia.
Yeah, September 1st, we will go back to Armenia.
Because school starts then, or why September?
We have a lot of work that we're doing there. We started a foundation called Pro-High. And Pro-High, we are working to reduce the number of abortions in Armenia and to increase the population rate because they are dangerously low. I mean, Armenians are just going about living their lives. They're eating their horovats. They're having their parties, and the nightlife in Armenia is great. And there's so many distractions from actual issues like population. The current population rate in Armenia is 1.6 to 1.7 per household, which is really, really bad. So we need to see the population rate go up. Armenians are becoming an extinct minority. They're growingly and increasingly becoming extinct. So much so that in 100 years, I'm not an alarmist or like a doomsdayer, but in 100 years, if there isn't a diversion in its current course, in the current trend that it is going on, there will be only 1,000 Armenians left in Armenia.
You don't think that's being done intentionally, though?
Oh, I think there is a lot of that happening, and it has been happening for many years. You read the population bomb. This came out in the 1960s, 1968. It was written by this Jew who believed that entire nations would go extinct because we were having too many children. And so we had to completely stop having children so that entire nations wouldn't starve. Okay. So he had a reverse solution. Now we see like nations are going extinct, not because we don't have enough resources. It's the contrary. We have an abundance of resources. Nations, meaning peoples, are going extinct today because they're not having children. And this was specifically, this book and this propaganda, the population bomb, this book, this propaganda was being pushed primarily in the West. Although surprisingly, India had gotten a hold of it. And the government took this. Over there, they have a class system. The Brahmins are like the top class in India. And these guys took it and they enforced this. They took this book and they made policy against reproduction. And they forcibly sterilized 8 million men? Something crazy.
In India.
In India, yeah.
I mean, China is having an issue with population because they implemented some sort of rule like that as well, where I think it was like 1 child per household. Mm-hmm. Japan, as we mentioned off air as well, Japan has practically become a sexless society. People aren't having sex. People aren't having children. And the population is slowly dwindling down there as well. But in Armenia, again, correct me if I'm wrong, we're seeing an influx of migration out of Armenia, and we're seeing a lot of immigration from countries outside of Armenia, sending in people. For example, we're seeing a lot of Indians come in, a lot of Iranians come in, a lot of Arabs come into Armenia. Bangladeshis coming into Armenia. The reason why I was asking if it's intentional, is it because of the government? Is it because of the westernization of Armenia? The loss of nationalism in Armenia, people have lost their identity?
Well, it's a multifaceted issue. What we see here since 1955, when abortion became legal, it happened under the Soviet Union. And so abortion became part of Soviet propaganda. And so if you had more than 2 children, you were deemed as someone who was putting a burden on your fellow comrades and a burden on the state because they were a socialism state. And they never actually achieved communism. At least that's what they say. Like the idea of Karl Marx wasn't actually fully achieved. They were working their way towards that. So they get socialism. And they were saying you were putting a burden on your comrades. You were destroying the state by having so many children because we don't have enough resources. And the Holodomor, which was an orchestrated famine. That was part of the government's agenda, was to kill out these people. And by doing so, they would have more resources, or that was the idea. But they're saying that if you have more children, it's going to cost more resources. That's a burden on the state, or a socialist country or nation state. So you can't do that. And so Armenians like Georgians and like many other people, they began to think that way. And they began bowing to the pressure of the state and ratting on their neighbors that were having more than 2 children, and gossiping and socially stigmatizing them. And so when the population bomb came out, this Jewish guy who wrote it, he got a lot of the ideas from communism, from the Soviet state, because it had already been enacted by that point. There was already research material to go off of, and he was thinking, this is a great idea. And it's terrible. It used to be people did have a love of country. They had a sense of identity, and they would fight for that identity. We used to have family values, traditions. People were deeply religious. Anywhere in Western Europe, people were deeply religious for the last 2,000 years. I mean, we know that Paul went to Britain. Paul went to Spain, Paul the Apostle. So immediately after, Christianity has been in Europe for 2,000 years. It's been in Armenia for 2,000 years. It was the first nation to become a Christian nation. The other issue I would say is globalism. And we see certain politicians in Armenia, I won't name names, but certain politicians happen to shake hands often with some of the biggest globalist commentators or globalist advocates on the world stage today. One of them is Alexander Soros. Alexander Soros is the son of George Soros. So this guy is deeply, dogmatically anti-birth rates population. He wants them to be decreased. He wants people to be wiped out, and he thinks it's better for humanity. And I think it's interesting that the majority of the people that espouse these ideas, they belong to a certain ethno-religious group. And that certain ethno-religious group, their holiest book called the Talmud, also advocates for such ideas. So these are coming from a religious text. The Talmud is a religious text. It's not just a debate between rabbis. It's arguments, yes, for certain Jewish beliefs based off of certain scriptures. They are giving commentary, but it's way more than that. And most rabbis who are sincere, and I know many of them around the world, they will tell you, like, this is the way we rule our lives. This is a rule book for how we conduct ourselves around one another, how we conduct our daily lives, how we conduct ourselves with people who are non-Jewish. And so the Talmud is deeply revered. And in most Jewish sects, you can't even read the Torah. I don't know if you knew that. Most Jews are not allowed to read the Torah, which is the first 5 books of Moses. They can't.
Why is that?
Because you have to have a rabbi interpret it for you.
Well, see, from my understanding, the Talmud was, as you mentioned, scripture, but it wasn't. It wasn't like the Bible, where there was stories from Moses, from James, from Paul, telling you the story of God or the Word of God and the stories of Christ. The Talmud was scripture that was, I guess you would say, debated amongst rabbis. And obviously, there's verses in the Talmud that's, it's all over the internet, where they talk about anybody who's not Jewish is known as cattle or goyim, that Christ is burning in hell in human feces, that Mary was a whore. And when you speak to a lot of Jewish people and you bring up those verses, they say, well, the Talmud is not something we follow. We actually follow the Tanakh and the Torah. So, I mean, where do you?
It's a plain lie. Excuse me.
The Talmud also says to deceive anybody that isn't Jewish, essentially.
That was going to be my next point. So, like you have in Islam, where you're allowed to deceive the unbeliever, in the Talmud, it says you can deceive the goyim, because they're less than animals. If you kill them, it's like killing a dog. Okay, it's not that bad. It's actually less than killing a wild animal. It says to steal from them, it's okay. So when we talked about conduct, morals, behavior, and how you should behave around people who are not part of your ethno-religious society, the way they're telling them to behave around people who are not part of their ethno-religious society is pretty effed up. It's very sick. Yeah. And in many ways, don't get me wrong, Islam is probably the biggest threat when we think about militant force to Christianity and to what's left of Christendom today. But Judaism is just as big of a threat, and that's what most people won't tell you.
What type of Christianity were you? So, what type of Christian were you in Iowa? You mentioned something, a form of Christianity. What was it called again?
Pentecostalism.
Okay, Pentecostalism. Can you elaborate on that? What kind of Christianity is that? Is it is it leaning more towards Orthodox, Evangelical, Catholicism? What is it leaning more towards?
So Pentecostalism is a branch within Evangelicalism.
And evangelicals are known to be pro-Judeo-Christian, pro-Zionist, pro-Israel. Is that what you guys were kind of leaning towards?
100%. There isn't a Pentecostal denomination that exists on the face of the planet today that isn't Zionist.
And is in Iowa, is that a fairly large community there?
It's the largest community in the world.
In Iowa?
No. As far as Protestantism goes, Pentecostalism is the largest form of Protestantism on the planet.
Okay, so if you don't mind me asking, how old were you when you kind of took a couple steps back and realized that, oh, you know what, this is a pro-Zionist movement and it's anti-Christian basically?
Well, I've always known that evangelicalism has been a political arm of the right, which has been very good in this country. They're the people who are opposing same-sex marriage, the LGBTQ, abortion. They're promoting religion, freedom of religion, and religious values and traditionalism. I appreciate that about evangelicalism. But the caveat here is they're also extremely pro-Zionist, and that comes from a theology which they espouse called dispensationalism. And I was probably 23, maybe 24. I started to notice some things about Zionism that I didn't agree with. So there's political Zionism, and then there's religious Zionism. Religious Zionism is something that I adhered to. I believe that the Jewish people were still the chosen people of God, and that God ultimately has a plan for the Jewish people. And it's a plan that has to do with eschatology, the end of days, and what he wants to do with the nation state of Israel is a part of that plan. When I was in Jerusalem, this is after the war, Nagorno-Karabakh war. I'd been traveling a lot to Egypt and to Armenia. And I went to Israel for the first time. I'd been studying Judaism for a while at this point. I was taking Hebrew classes, working to learn Hebrew, both biblical Hebrew and modern Hebrew. And I'll never forget going to Jerusalem. I'm walking with an Armenian priest, and I got spat on by Jewish people. At this point, I've donated thousands of dollars to Zionist organizations, to Jewish charities. I'm learning Hebrew. I've studied Judaism for years. It's after the Nagorno-Karabakh war, so I'm already not liking Israel because of their involvement in the war. I don't know if you know, but the
selling of the drones to
it's worse than that. It's worse than that. It was worse than selling of arms. The drones that they were using, you need drone pilots to operate those drones. The Azeris aren't sophisticated enough to operate those drones. Only the IDF can operate those drones.
So what you're saying
unless they had IDF soldiers on the ground for maybe 3 months, as a guy who's operated drones myself, I'm a drone pilot as well. I've served in combat. Unless they had IDF soldiers on the ground training them, there's no way any Azeri soldier was operating those drones. You would have had to have IDF soldiers on the ground operating those drones to kill the Christians.
It's not something they could have operated remotely from Israel?
No.
So you're talking about not only having Syrian mercenaries out on the battlefield, boots on the ground, you're talking about having Israeli IDF soldiers piloting these drones that were allegedly sold to the Azeris.
They weren't allegedly. I mean, just read the...
No, I'm talking about allegedly flying.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, read the Jerusalem Times and Jerusalem Post, and there's many Jewish publications in Israel that talk about the arms deal and their continual cordial relations with Azerbaijan. Azerbaijan provides a lot of gas and oil to Israel, so that's part of the reason, that's part of the exchange with weapons. But you're taking it a step further if you're having IDF soldiers on the ground actually operating, piloting those drones and targeting the Christians there. They didn't just target military posts. It's just like what they did in Palestine and what they're doing in Lebanon and what they're doing in Iran. They're not simply targeting militaristic operations. They're targeting civilians. When that school was bombed in Iran, okay, those coordinates were given to us by the IDF, okay? And it was our missile that bombed them. They gave us the coordinates, and with these missiles, they're highly effective. Highly effective. Okay? These missiles, when you put the coordinates in there, they're programmed. They are going directly to what that coordinate is. Why? Why would they give us coordinates to a school to bomb children?
That quick?
Yep, that's why we're the best.
Thank you, sir. Oh, by the way, sorry about your car.
Oh no!
If you've been injured in a car accident, slip and fall, or work injury, reach out to Megeredchian Law today.
At Megeredchian Law, we maximize your compensation, you get constant client communication, and we win when it matters most.
Yeah, that's the big question. Because when you looked at the Artsakh War in 2020, it was the first time we saw what you would call modern warfare, where you didn't have the traditional tanks, boots on the ground, people going back and forth, shooting from certain, I guess you would call bunkers or trenches. You essentially had our guys out in the fields, helpless. A lot of them didn't have the same military training the Azeris had. They didn't have the same military backing the Azeris had, and we were in essence blindsided by it,
right? Because
none of us were expecting that capacity of missiles and drones to be used against us. And a lot of people did speak up about having the war prolong into the winter, which would have actually benefited us, because at that point, again, I'm no military expert, but you'll probably know this better than we will. Going into the winter, those drones were going to have a lot of difficulty flying and maneuvering around.
Maybe. I don't know which drones they were using at the time. I do know Armenia was severely under-equipped. We look at their air force, the Armenian military's air power. It's about 3,000 men, I think. Azerbaijan is 15,000. So there's a great disparity in the numbers we see. We see official reports during the war that, okay, we're winning. We're winning this war from Armenia's side. All the while, Armenia was losing, and they knew that. So the chain of command may have been being dishonest. It might have been the media being dishonest. I'm not sure the entirety of the details. But I will tell you, I don't know if you remember the white phosphorus that was used on Armenians in Nagorno-Karabakh. That white phosphorus, you know where it came from, right?
Where?
Ukraine, was it?
Ukraine.
Yeah.
It came from Ukraine. This is what people need to get right and need to understand. The players in Ukraine are all Jewish. I mean, the big players. When it comes to weapons, when it comes to weaponry, defense, when it comes to drone manufacturing, it's all Jewish people at the helm. And so there you have drones coming from Israel into Azerbaijan, with most likely having IDF operators on the ground piloting those drones. You have Ukrainian Jews who are the arms dealers of Ukraine. Zelensky's a Jewish president of Ukraine. So he's signing off on the white phosphorus or whatever else, right? Not him, but whoever Jewish person was in power at the time, running the military and their arms deals. All these guys are Jewish. I met with them. They're all Jewish. And you begin to ask a question like, okay, your holy book says one thing. You say, oh yeah, this holy book means like, it's like here on the totem pole, right? And the main thing is the Torah, the Tanakh, the Nevi'im, the Ketuvim, the Pentateuch, the Mishnah, the Chumash, whatever. The Babylonian Talmud and the Jerusalem Talmud, it's way down here. But yet you're doing everything that your playbook, the Talmud, tells you to do. So the Talmud is like the order of operations. They want to wipe out Christians. How many guys died in that war? Not just soldiers, but civilians. I think over 5,000, right?
That's the estimates, yeah.
It's probably more than that, to be honest. But at least 5,000, okay? And people say, well, 5,000, that's a lot, but it's not so severe. In 100 years' time, how many Christians could have been produced out of that 5,000?
Yeah, you had 2 generations wiped out, if not 3.
Oh, yeah. And ultimately, hundreds of thousands, millions. That's what happens whenever you take out that many people.
But what was, you said you've sat down with a lot of these Jewish people in power or with influence. Have you had such discussions as to why are they, meddling in all these different wars around the world, specifically, for instance, the one in Armenia? Why were they selling weaponry to the Azeris? You mentioned because they buy fuel from them, gas, fuel, right? But that can't be the only reason.
Well, it seems to be there's some ultimate other motivations there as well. We know that Iran and Armenia are allies. That's not the only reason, I think. I mean, because the way that they treat the Armenians, they're treating the Palestinians, they're treating the Iranians, they're treating everybody the same way. So there's no distinction, okay, between these ethnic groups. But when it comes to your question, I got to be careful how I answer that question. Yes, indeed, I've had a very specific conversation about the total eradication and annihilation of Armenians from the face of the planet to the last man. And the man who had that conversation with me was possibly one of the 3 top rabbis in the globe right now. Chief rabbis. I can't tell you who it was for the sake of my own safety and my family's safety and the safety of my friends around him. But it was very, very, very eye-opening, that conversation. He had compared the Armenian people to Amalekites, and he said that these people are the Amalekites of the Old Testament and need to be wiped out to the last man.
But I'm sure you're not the only person he said that to.
Oh, no. And I mean, you can go online and there are rabbis who have followings who say it openly.
This is a known thing, though. I mean, if you research it enough, isn't it not?
We've seen a lot of those videos pop up where they discuss anybody who is non-Jewish. And when you look at what certain rabbis are saying and whether it's the Talmud they're following or whatever scripture it is, we have Jewish friends, we have Jewish clientele, we have Jewish acquaintances where we discuss these certain topics with them and they go, dude, that's a completely different agenda these guys have. And we're not for that. So is Judaism divided in half as well, or are we all just being played a fool?
No. There are many Jewish people that are very ignorant of Jewish tradition, right? Not only are they ignorant of Jewish tradition, they're non-practicing. And maybe they have no familiarity with their religion. And these Jewish people are nice people. They're people that I personally have done business with. I know many Jewish people that are like this. But within all of them, there is a collectivism of ethnic supremacy. So there's this idea that since we are the chosen people, everybody else is already beneath us. Because God didn't choose any one of them. He didn't choose the Armenians. You will never be the chosen people. The white people will never be the chosen people. And then and that's with the moderate ones, and they won't say it to your face, It's kind of interesting. It's like you go to an Armenian dinner, right? And the son-in-law comes over, and the father-in-law, he's cooking the horovats,
Yeah.
And the whole time, the son-in-law's sitting back, biting his tongue, because he thinks the father-in-law is cooking it too long.
Burning the meat.
Burning the meat. He likes it a little more moist,
Yeah.
So
something happens. Because the father-in-law cannot cook the horovats the way he does, he's not as good at cooking the horovats as the son-in-law is. And this idea comes in your mind where I'm better at it than him. And maybe you have some son-in-laws who will just say it openly. You may think you're cool with your father-in-law. You could just say that in the Armenian community. You can't. You can't, because the moment you do, it's going to come to his mind every time you guys eat together. Like, my son-in-law thinks he's better than me at this,
Yeah.
So supremacy is a weird thing. I mean, people talk about white supremacy, and when we break it down, I want to talk about this for a second. White supremacy is real. There are things that white people are just supreme at. We built Western civilization. We created all of modern technology, which in the entirety of humanity benefits from. We brought the entire globe out of the Dark Ages. The majority of our inventors were of Scotch-American descent, like the major inventors, Alexander Graham Bell, the Wright brothers. You think about this, like the telephone, the light bulb, the electrical grid.
The Wright brothers,
the
airplane you just mentioned as well.
Right. Henry Ford, the automobile, the train, the television, the computer.
Scotch.
Yeah, Scotch. Yeah. Where would we be without Scotch? So listen, all of these things came from Aryan white people.
But you guys are privileged. That's why it came from you guys, right?
Privilege with intelligence. So,
hey, there's been a lot of Armenian inventors too.
Well, the inventor of the X-ray wasn't here.
MRI,
MRI, the ATM machine,
a lot,
color television,
automatic transmission.
The green you see on the dollar bills.
There's a ton of Armenian.
But that's because you guys are privileged from coming from the Caucasus.
Ah.
People say, like, aren't the Armenians from Central Asia? No, they're from the Caucasus. People say, aren't they from Europe? I'm like, no, they're literally just from the Caucasus. It is a separate region in and of its own.
Well, we're the true Caucasians.
Yeah. I mean, here's another thing. Here's a psyop. We even talk about psyops. When the Jews began to take control at Oxford, right? Yeah, Oxford Publishing was one of the biggest publishers in the West. Okay. The printing press that came about by Gutenberg, also a Western invention from a white man. Thank God. Give credit where credit is due. You get all these minorities from Africa, from South America. They don't show respect when they're in your home.
You sound racist, Joel.
I am. I am racist. Because if that's what it means to be racist, then that's what I am. I value who I am. I know who I am. I know my culture. I can trace my grandfathers back 400 years. 400 years. I have Samuel Morse was my 9th great grandfather. You know who Samuel Morse is?
No.
The founder of Morse code.
No shit.
Yeah.
Really?
My ancestry is amazing. My culture
do you get royalty checks from that or no?
I should.
Do they even use Morse code anymore?
Some people do.
But a lot of inventions, like the telephone, like this technology actually came from Samuel Morse. Like everything in that line of technology comes from what Samuel Morse invented and his inventions, his paperwork, his ideas. But anyway, I have great ancestry. Fantastic ancestry. The best ancestry you've ever seen. It's so great. 400 years I can trace my ancestry back just in America, and I can trace it back in Europe as well. We built this country. America belongs to us. It belongs to the WASP, the white Anglo-Saxon Protestants, and the European Catholics that came and built this country. Armenians get a pass because they're Christian. If you weren't Christian, I'd treat you like I do the Persians. Get the heck out.
So then what do you say about, like, for example, the Italians?
Yeah, the Italians. Yeah,
Italians as well. So basically, anybody who's white and Christian, Catholic. That's it.
Christian, Catholic, Orthodox. That's
but
it.
I mean, there's
this was founded as a Christian country by Christians. It was formulated of Christians. The Christians are the ones who built this country, and we have a certain civilization that Christians in the Congo don't have. We have a certain civilization that Christians in Belize or Honduras can't appreciate.
So, what do you say to those people that say, "Well, this country is actually a Judeo-Christian nation"?
I'd ask them, where does the term Judeo-Christian come from?
Well, I mean, President Trump has said that as well.
So I'd ask him the same question. The reason why President Trump continues to push this narrative is because his daughter-in-law, his son-in-law, and his grandchildren are all Jewish, and his daughter converted to Judaism.
So that's what I can't seem to understand. So you truly, I mean, you know him personally, President Trump.
Yeah.
We don't know him personally, other than we've been at his presence at the Mar-a-Lago, but we've never sat down with him. So you truly think because Ivanka married Kushner, he's pretty much effing up the whole world right now because his son-in-law and his grandkids are Jewish? You think that's his motive?
Let me ask you some questions, okay? First of all, Trump is a great guy. He is a great guy. He's misguided on some things, specifically his devotion to Bibi Netanyahu in Israel. He's pushing back a little bit, I think, because he's seeing how enraged the American public is, and he can see that there's going to be either civil war or a revolution take place if we keep supporting Israel.
Or loss of credibility.
Oh, that doesn't matter to him.
Well, to the Republican Party.
Well, the Republican Party's done.
Of course it is.
It's toast. I mean, those who don't realize it, they're like frogs in boiling water, you know?
Yeah. We noticed it because of this specific term.
And it's the same with the Democrat Party. The Democrat Party's done too, because neither of these parties represent the American people or the needs of Americans. I mean, heritage Americans. The Democrats represent all the people who aren't from America, who don't have 400 years of history. That's who they represent. Yeah. The Republicans, the only people that they represent is Israel.
Well, the Democrats also represent Israel, don't they?
Yeah, they're all taking money from AIPAC, every last one of them. You need to go to Track AIPAC, and there's a couple other ones. One is one app was created by a friend of mine, Kyrillos. He's an Egyptian Coptic Christian, a great guy, kidnapped by Muslims and went through crazy stuff with the Muslim Brotherhood. And great man. He created this fantastic app, which is like Track AIPAC, and basically, you can see every single
donation.
All the financials are there.
Bribe. I would call it a bribe instead of donation.
Yeah, bribe. Not just from AIPAC, but all of AIPAC-like PACs.
So let's go back to the original thought you were answering about. You don't think he cares about credibility, but so you truly think his motive, or a big part of the motive, his motivation is because look, the Kushner family.
It's not just
doesn't need to make a single penny for the rest of their lives. Their great grandkids will live very comfortably. Same thing with the Trump family.
That's not true either. And let me stop you there. Name one millionaire or billionaire who tells you, or I don't need to make any more money for the rest of my life.
Well, it's not about necessarily making more money. It's about how comfortably they could continue to live and control what's going on.
Power.
It doesn't matter. None of them think that way. Ever.
Oh.
No.
Well, they don't think that way, but they can if they wanted to.
They could.
Yeah. They just don't, because part of life, you have to have a purpose. Doesn't matter. You have $1 billion, 200. I mean, Elon Musk is pretty much a trillionaire at this point.
Almost.
What's his motive is not money. It's because he's changing the world. Some would say
that's it.
To the better, to the worse.
And to change the world, you need money and you need power,
right.
You need influence.
So
when is enough? But it's not. But
right, it's not enough. But I want to understand Trump's mentality of, I'm going to screw the whole world up. You know, we're just going to go into war with all these different countries. I'm going to go kiss the wall. I'm going to kiss Bibi's behind. And it's because Ivanka married into a Jewish family.
It's bigger than that, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, every president since JFK has been kissing the wall. You know,
I mean, can you imagine coming in? I mean, your son-in-law, you kiss his ass or his godfather's ass. You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Well, there's more there with a certain man named Cohen and his influence over Trump, and a lot that I can't unpack for this podcast, but maybe the next time. I will say Trump is a family man. His family means everything to him. Jared means a lot to him. His grandkids mean a lot to him. The amount of power, though, that has been allocated to Jared, it's mind-boggling.
It doesn't concern you? I mean,
it does.
Who the fuck is Jared?
He doesn't have an actual position in this administration.
Yeah. Real estate developer. Now he's in charge of global affairs. Like, really?
So when he went to Russia, right, who went with him to Moscow?
I don't remember. Was it JD or who was it?
No.
Who was it? I forget.
It's the same Jew that keeps traveling with him to all of these states.
Was it his rabbi or something, or what?
No.
Because look, the Trump of
Well, let's see who it was. Who was it?
I'll tell you in a second. But this guy, okay, Trump sends both of them to every single conflict in the world to settle it, to mediate it, even to Armenia. Like, what's going on with that? You know, this peace deal, and you see, you got Nikol Pashinyan, you got President Trump, and Jared Kushner right behind him.
And who's the second Jewish guy?
Oh my gosh, I can't think of his name right now. It'll come to me in a second. You know who I'm talking about, though. The short guy. He's shorter. He's Jewish. He's Marco
Rubio?
No.
Not okay.
No, I know who you're talking about. I just don't know his name. He's a shorter gentleman, yes.
I can't think of his name.
I don't know if I'm using the right words calling him a gentleman, but yeah, he's a shorter guy.
Yeah.
I'm trying to look it up right now. Hold on.
But I mean, to me, that's concerning. What's Jared's qualification or that other man's qualification?
Why is he creating the Arab peace accords and deals and all of these things? Like in every single conflict, he is there.
Yeah, it seems like everything is a real estate transaction for them. Well, if we create this deal and then we can, get a couple square miles here right at the Gaza Strip, or we can get a few square miles here. That's how it's perceived. So I would love to understand what, and nobody in his cabinet is asking him, why are you sending your son-in-law? Let him go develop in Manhattan, wherever the hell he develops.
Is it Steve Witkoff, by the way?
Oh, there we go. Steve Witkoff.
Can I see a picture of him?
We'll post it up as well in the edit.
It's Steve Witkoff. This guy's been everywhere with Jared. He went to Moscow to mediate this whole thing with Vladimir Putin, which, by the way, like people, you've heard me rail on. Yeah, that's him.
He's an HOA president.
Bro, this guy looks like he stole money from the HOA.
From the roofing contract?
From the roofing contract. We can probably build it for $2,000 a roof, but you know what? I found somebody that'll do it for $20,000. Just take it from the fucking HOA funds.
I'm going to black pill you gentlemen for a second.
What the fuck is a black pill?
A black pill is it's a pill that gets you a little depressed. But
that's the first.
So you got Ukraine, but also Moscow. Like, let's talk about the Kremlin for a second. The Jews have infiltrated the Kremlin. And I mean, they've been there since Vladimir Lenin, Leon Trotsky. They never really went away. Stalin got rid of about half of them, but he didn't get rid of all of them. And they continued to maintain power. And the power structures of Jewish families in Russia go back 200 years. Okay. The prime minister of Russia is actually Jewish. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah. So look up Vladimir Putin and Chabad rabbis. You'll see Vladimir Putin is always meeting with Jewish rabbis. Hasidim, Chabad, it doesn't matter. If there's a rabbi in the room, he's shaking hands with them.
This is Putin.
This is Putin. Putin doesn't meet with anybody. You know that, right? Putin just doesn't leave the palace. Right now, he doesn't leave the bunker, okay, because he's afraid they're going to kill him.
How do you pronounce this guy's last name? Russia's current prime minister is Mikhail Mushitin.
Let me see.
Look at that. What is that?
Okay.
Is it Mushitin?
Mikhail
Mushitin.
Yeah, Mushitin. Mikhail Mushitin.
Let's see his picture. Is it the guy that was interviewed? Oh, that guy.
We'll post it up as well.
He's cute.
Yeah, he looks like an HOA president as well. Everybody's
the secretary.
Yeah.
Technology should move your business forward, not hold it back. At Titan Elite IT Services and Consulting, we make sure it does. Our clients don't wait days for help. They get real-time answers, fast resolutions, and dedicated support, both on-site and remote. From Los Angeles to Orange and Ventura counties, our coverage is local, statewide, and nationwide. When you need us, we're already on the way. We're not just an MSP. We build with you. From cloud migration to security to every endpoint in your network.
At Titan Elite, we don't just solve problems. We prevent them from happening. We become a part of your team and we grow with you.
Titan Elite IT Services and Consulting. Strategic, scalable, trusted, and always on.
Are you looking for a place to kick back and celebrate? Well, the Glenarden Club has got you covered. Upstairs, you got a private lounge with a cigar room. Downstairs, you got the moose den, where you can have cocktails and private events. Hey, are you even hungry? They got an outside pizzeria serving one of the best pizzas in town. If you're interested in becoming a member with the Glenarden Club or booking an event, contact the WiseNuts. We'll connect you to the boys at the Glenarden, and you could become a member here or host your next gathering. Is it Zionism or is it Judaism?
This is the whole thing. Like, people try not to have this conversation because if you have this conversation, it's just racism. But there is something that I think has remained throughout all societies for all of time. And that's something called tribalism. I'm very proud of my Scottish ancestry. I'm very proud of the fact that I can trace my ancestors back 400 years to the beginning of the founding of this country. And I love my people. You know, there's a real deep love for my people. And any enemy or threat to my people, you want annihilated. You just want. And so I think in Judaism, they have this perceived threat that since they're the chosen people and everybody else isn't, everybody else is going to totally annihilate them. And I think it's a systematic thing that has happened with them for centuries and centuries, like 6,000 years. I mean, they've never been amenable to any nation or tribe around them, ever. You read the Old Testament to now. But there's something else that people don't actually talk about, which is very, very interesting. We talk about tribalism. So Jacob had a twin brother, and his twin brother was Esau.
Yes.
They hated each other. They hated each other, and God hated Esau. He said, Jacob I love, Esau I hated, right? So forever, they're at odds with one another. And in Israel, you had the northern and the southern kingdom. You had Judea. Then you had this kingdom called Edom, Edomian, which meant you were a son of Esau. And so Herod Agrippa was also an Edomian. How does an Edomite become king over Israel? You have to read the Maccabean Revolt and have to study some history. Read 1st and 2nd Maccabees, study some history of the period before Jesus comes on the scene, 200 years prior approximately. But the Edomite kingdom begins to merge with Judah, begins to merge with Judah and Benjamin. And that happened because a Jewish leader at the time actually told them, like, you need to convert to Judaism and force the men to get circumcised and to be assimilated into their tribe. And part of that was because they were low on numbers. And also, I think the other part was the Jewish people are always trying to improve their genetics. So a lot of times they do marry outside their race. But since everyone always knows who their mother is, they trace their ethnicity matrilineally, through the mother's line.
The mother's line.
Yeah. So anyway, Herod Agrippa was this evil guy, right? This guy who he threw all the babies and killed the firstborns in Bethlehem when Jesus was born. So he murders all these babies because he's afraid of somebody who's going to steal his power. Because the wise men come, they said, we've come to follow the star to worship the king.
Yeah, the son of man, the king is born, and he will take his place. So he was like, you know what? Kill every single baby that's basically been born recently.
Yeah. It's It's true. And he actually slew Zechariah, the father of John the Baptist, the priest who was praying in the temple, because when Elizabeth had John the Baptist, he was thinking that John the Baptist might be that king.
Oh,
because
really?
they were 6 months apart, if you remember.
Interesting.
Elizabeth and Mary, when Mary goes to greet her cousin Elizabeth, right? And he has Zechariah killed because Zechariah wouldn't give up John the Baptist, and his blood was spilt before the next to the altar.
Yeah. So where were you going with this whole tribe thing, though? Can you go back to that real quickly?
So really quickly, so these people, the Edomites, they hate the real Jewish people. And not only did they hate Judah, but they hated Judah and his descendants. This is crazy. But to some people, the English people, they believed in the divine right to rule. Okay? Look up the divine right to rule. And the Scottish people believed in that too. We had the stone of Jacob, also known as the stone of destiny, upon which our kings, our Scottish kings, were crowned. And Jews absolutely hate Scottish people. There's a whole thing there. But we believed, and the Irish maintained, that we go back to Jacob, that we're the descendants of David, of Jacob, that we're part of the 12 tribes.
Not Isaac. Or
No,
Esau.
Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So ultimately, we would be descendants of Isaac as well, but Jacob is the one who had the 12 sons. So there were 12 tribes of Israel. By the time Jesus shows up on the scene, he's coming to 2 tribes. He comes to Judah and to Benjamin. Okay, so what I'm saying is this tribalism, this hatred is coming from Esau. And it's Esau against Jacob and his 12 tribes. The other 10, they were dispersed at the destruction of the first temple. Okay, the Solomon's temple. This happened under the reign of King Nebuchadnezzar. And they were scattered into the earth. And then we see in Acts chapter 2, it says, devout men from all the nations of the world had gathered in Jerusalem for the feast of Pentecost. And when that happened, there were 120 people with the disciples in the upper room. And the Holy Spirit descended upon them. They began to speak in other languages, and they were speaking the languages of these various tribes. Okay? These tribes, I believe, were the 12 tribes of Israel. When Jesus showed up on the scene, there were only 2 tribes. You had the Benjamites and the Judaites, the sons of Judah, the Jews, and the Benjamites, the sons of Benjamin. So the Jews today aren't actual real Jews. That's my main point. They are infiltrators. They came in, not infiltrators, but they were forcibly brought in. Mm-hmm. And there's a spiritual blood hatred that comes from Esau and all of his descendants against Jacob and all of his descendants. And I think this is why the spiritual reason is in the blood. Life is in the blood, the Bible says. There's a lot of things that we just inherit genetically. Some people inherit alcoholism. Some people inherit just drug addiction and a lot of other things. You know, the sins passed down, the Bible says, 10 generations. 10 generations. So that's why Jesus said, like, you must be born again to enter the kingdom of God, the kingdom of heaven, because all of these things need to be broken off. That this happens when we are filled with the Spirit of God, when we are baptized and we are raised to new life, the Bible says.
But when you talk to somebody who's Jewish, they'll say that, well, Jesus was Jewish. He was a rabbi. He spoke the word of God. I mean, what do you say to that then?
Yeah, Jesus was a rabbi. A rabbi was a teacher.
But he wasn't Jewish.
No, Jesus was Jewish. He wasn't an Edomite. His line was not infiltrated. His line was not part of this Edomite Judean mixture. He could trace his lineage all the way back to King David, even further back. And when we open up the Gospels, that's the first thing we see. Jesus, the son of Mary, the son of, Jesus, the son of Joseph, son of so-and-so. Yeah. Going all the way back to King David. So I think the hatred, the animosity, the vitriolic hate we see coming from Jews towards Christians, where we see them spitting on us, this is Esau manifesting. It's the spirit of Esau who hated his brother, who tried to kill his brother. Same age-old thing, Cain and Abel, right?
Yeah.
So you see the same thing with Esau. Esau tries to destroy Jacob, tries to destroy his descendants, tries to wage an army of war against Jacob. Okay. So I believe the real Jewish people, the real people that are real Jews, are probably Palestinians, the majority of them, Syrians, Lebanese. The Lebanese also are not Pharaonic, Phoenician. They're also Phoenician people.
But you're talking about Semites, or are you talking about Jews?
Jews come from one of Jacob's sons. The son of Jacob was Judah. Jews come from the tribe of Judah. There were 11 other tribes. The white Europeans, we come from those tribes. We're not we're not just some race that just came out of nowhere. We see the Armenians, they come from Japheth. Okay, Hike was a great grandson of Noah, great-great-grandson. He was a great-grandson of Japheth. And then you have Shem. And Shem is where we get the Shemites, okay, or Semites. And then you have Ham. And Ham is where you get the Asians and the Africans from.
Okay. Because I was trying to understand when you were saying Lebanese, Syrian, Palestinian. We know that specific area as where they say, oh, the Semites. That's where the Semites come from.
Yeah, I mean, what you see happening in first century, in the first century, is as Christianity began to grow in Jerusalem, before the disciples left, before the destruction of the temple in 70 AD, there was approximately over 40,000 Jewish Christians, people descendant of Jews, or people who are of Judah and Benjamin. And I think when Jesus is saying, you are not of the father Abraham, your father is the devil, yes, right? He was speaking to the one who was cursed. He was speaking to Esau that was in them. That's my take on it. It's an interesting take, I know, but I have reasons for why I believe what I believe. What we see happening is these 40,000, they end up marrying people. They went around the world preaching the gospel, but they end up marrying people who are not Jewish. They were Phoenicians in Lebanon. They were Syrians in Syria. They were marrying Arabs. They went into Iraq. We have the Assyrian church. This is why any one of those guys, they come up, they do their blood tests. It's going to show up they have Jewish in them. Every last one of them. Even Armenians. You know, Tigranes the Great, he brought in a ton of Armenians, into Armenia. And they helped those Jewish people. They were real Jews, I'm sure there were Edomites mixed in with them, but they were real Jews. And they helped do a lot of great things for Armenia.
So 1948 comes around. And I want to kind of fast forward to modern times today. 1948 comes out around. The United States and the United Kingdom come together and help form the state of Israel. A bunch of Jewish people are somewhat relocated to that land. The Palestinian people open up their doors. They allow these people to come in and form the state of Israel. And after that, you see a lot of other entities that were formed as well. 47, I believe, was the CIA, and then 49 was the CIA, Mossad, if I'm not mistaken, right? After that, you see so much more conflict happening all around the world. And that particular area is obviously majority Arab. There is a lot of Christians, but majority are Muslims. Now, you have this small nation of Israel being backed by the United States, by the UK, by a lot of other countries, being funded. What do you think will actually happen if the United States were to actually pull out and say, listen, we're no longer fighting these wars for you. We're no longer funding these wars for you. We've lost thousands and thousands of soldiers and billions, if not trillions of dollars.
That's a great question. Geopolitically, what would happen?
Yeah, because the one thing that we're obviously avoiding is what do they call it? The
Armageddon,
or Armageddon, or the what is it? The Samson
option.
Samson option.
You bring the whole house down.
I mean,
on top of yourself.
because I
you
mean,
know. If you're going down, everybody else is going down too.
Would Israel survive without the backing of the United States?
Let's go back. We went to 1948.
Correct.
Let's fast forward to the 1960s, to the reign of this socialist Abdul Nasser of Egypt. Great leader in many respects. This guy wanted to wipe out Israel. He wanted to go full scale, full escalation war against Israel. Israel wiped out Abdul Nasser's entire air force. You know, he wanted to destroy Israel. At the time, we have, I think is it called the Arab League today, or
the Arab League?
Arab Brotherhood?
Arab Brotherhood.
Today.
That's what it is.
I think before it was called the Arab League or the Arab League of Nations. They had met the day afterwards. Abdul Nasser was killed.
For what purposes?
Well, he died.
Oh, he died. That's
of natural causes.
Ah, okay.
The day after, he meets with the Arab leaders. And what else happens around this time? Can you look up the difference in time between JFK's assassination and Abdul Nasser's death? Look that up for me if you would.
Can we look it up, Joe?
Yeah, let me look. The name one more time.
Abdul Nasser.
Abdul Nasser.
The difference between his death and JFK's.
So the difference between Abdul Nasser and JFK's death. Are you looking at as far as like time?
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Okay, so JFK was November 22nd, 1963.
Yep.
Abdul Nasser was killed when?
1970.
1970.
7 years.
So 7 years, or just under 7 years.
So let me complete this for you. JFK did not want Israel to have nuclear weapons. And nuclear capabilities whatsoever. When he looked at their nuclear program, he knew that they were trying to pull one over on him. And so he rebuked him for that. I even have a clip on my Instagram. If you go to Joel Tenney, you can see on Instagram this clip that I had posted of JFK speaking out on this issue against Israel. And by this point, we see a total acceleration after JFK was taken out. They just went to the max on nuclear proliferation and expanding their nuclear capabilities. And I believe Abdul Nasser was trying to save the world from this Samson option. But the Arab leaders were already too afraid that this Samson option was definitely something that could already happen by that point. So if the United States, to answer your question, was to pull direct support, both military and financially, from Israel, I believe every single surrounding nation, Kuwait, Dubai, UAE,
Saudis.
all the Saudis, like Qatar, Bahrain, all of these nations, Egypt, Pakistan, Iran, Turkey, all of them would be pointing their weapons at Israel, and Israel would be gone in a day if it weren't for the United States. That's why I hate when people say Israel's our greatest ally. Where would we be without Israel? Well, we wouldn't be any wars in the Middle East. That's for one. We didn't have an enemy in the Middle East until Israel became a nation state. In fact, Iran was our greatest ally.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I think that what was the first nation to recognize America's independence? Wasn't it Morocco?
As in 1776
Yeah.
independence?
Yeah.
That's a very good question. I don't know.
I think the first nation to officially recognize the United States was a Middle Eastern country, maybe North African. I think it might have been Morocco.
There it is, the first one. Let's see who it's. Morocco. You're right. Yeah.
Morocco.
So
1777.
1 year later, huh?
Yeah, it's crazy. I love history because history is how we understand the present. Otherwise, you're just living in ambiguity. It doesn't make sense, right?
There was this one video Armon sent me probably about 2 months ago. I forgot who it was, the actual author of the video, but he did this amazing historical kind of dive into the Middle East and how America got involved in the Middle East. And it began in the 60s, when the Saudis obviously discovered black gold underneath their deserts, and how America said, hey, you know what? We'll help you pump that black gold out. And all of a sudden, Israel's involvement, and then Iran, and then Iraq, and then Afghanistan, and all these different Middle Eastern countries getting involved. And then at the end, you kind of take a couple steps back and you look at who was poking the bear. It was always either America or it was Israel. It was America or it was Israel. And by poking the bear, I mean the Arab nations, meaning whether they were Shias or Sunnis. It was constantly creating conflict amongst themselves, and then them stepping back and saying, well, let's continue to dig up the gold, the black gold that is, and then let them fight amongst each other. And then once one of them falls, then we'll go in after the one that conquered, and we'll say, these guys are dangerous. We got to take them out.
Right.
And they did that with Afghanistan, and they did that with Iraq as well.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. All of our entirety of our foreign policy in the Middle East has come from Israel, to be honest. All of it. It's not just about oil. It's not just about gold.
So who do you, this is probably the $1 million question that always comes up is, who do you think controls who? Is it Israel controls the United States, or the United States controls Israel?
100% Israel controls the United States, and I'll tell you why. Look at who is the head of the faith office at the White House. Paula White. Why does she have that position? Because she's a Zionist. She's a dispensationalist. These guys who are donating to Trump's campaign, the Jewish people, they're the ones promoting this idea continually within foreign policy. Okay, we have to support Israel because you have these Judeo-Christians. Now, Judeo-Christianity is a real thing. People say, okay, well, Judeo-Christian, like, we can't use that terminology. No, it exists today, and it's a false religion. It exists as a false religion. They say that's not a thing. Well, it is actually a thing. And we see this thing being implemented into U.S. foreign policy, and we see our president, all right, his spiritual pastor. I mean, I was one of the religious leaders next to President Trump, okay, but his pastor is a woman who's been through 3 divorces, but because she has the right idea concerning Israel in the end days and last days, and Trump, that's why she has her position. Trump had 2 Bible studies a week in his last term. Every week, he would have 2 Bible studies every week for the last 2 years of his former term in the Oval Office. And that Bible study was all on dispensationalism. It was all on the end times and where Israel stands in the end times. And if you want to be on the side of God, you need to stand with the Jews. So they twist scriptures, okay, to formulate this political and religious Zionism. And they do that by saying this promise that was made to Abraham is a promise that's made to the modern nation state of Israel. The promise of the land, everything. But the promise of the land and all those other promises weren't made to Abraham. They were made to Abraham's seed. And Paul says, and it's not seeds, it's singular. It's one. It's one descendant. Who is that descendant? It's Christ. That's what Paul argues, and all those who are in Christ. So really, Israel belongs to Christians. It used to be under the control and the power of Christians at one point. We even had a half Armenian king ruling from Jerusalem at one point, King Baldwin, So I think Christians need to understand their identity, ultimately, if they're ever going to break out of this stranglehold that the Jewish people have on our economy, the Federal Reserve, and the fact that so many of us are dying, going to war to fight for this nation state. If we want to save our people, if we want to save our nation from total collapse and total degradation, as we see the immigration, I mean, look at we have to get rid of the Jewish influence and power. Look at the European Union that was formulated by Jews as well. And when we see this guy, Theodor Herzl, he was the founder of Zionism. This guy brokered a deal with A.H., the Austrian painter. Okay, you know of whom I refer.
Of course. The mustache man. That's what we call him.
Yeah.
Mustache man. Sorry.
he made a deal with him called the Havara Agreement. Do you know what the Havara Agreement was?
No.
The first transport of Jews, Ashkenazi Jews, to Palestine came from AH.
Really?
Came from the Austrian painter.
Was he trying to deport them?
Yeah, he was deporting them.
Not kill them.
No, there is zero evidence that he ever had a plan for genocide as we understand it. He did have a plan for ethnic cleansing, but murder was not part of that plan.
Which ethnic cleansing, the difference from my understanding between ethnic cleansing and genocide is, ethnic cleansing is you remove people from a certain region, right? That's ethnic cleansing. Whereas genocide is actually killing them.
And you can't even really look at it in the strictest term of definition of ethnic cleansing as ethnic cleansing. It was deportation of illegals and people who had become citizens of Germany, but had only been citizens for 1 or 2 generations. Because the Jews weren't always in Germany, you know?
I mean, they were scattered all over Europe, from Poland, Austria, Germany. They were everywhere. France.
Well, they were always moving. They were gypsies, essentially. They were always moving. They had caravans. Jewish people moved in groups of people. They were always migrating from country to country, from place to place. And it's because when they took up residence and they took power, they immediately seized media and banks and treasury positions.
And education.
And education, always education.
Education as well.
Going back to what I was going to say about Oxford, the Oxford Press, I never finished that. My mind goes a million ways at once. So if I'm like going crazy, just say, bring me back to base.
We'll reel you back to Auschwitz, so don't worry.
Okay. You know, the Oxford printing press was like one of the largest, biggest, most important printing presses, printing houses. The Jews took over that. They took over Oxford. And when they did that, they began to change the educational system in England. They were to do that very early on. So in the early 19th century, they already have a stranglehold, and it just only increases. I had the last publication of the National History of Ireland, printed in 1860. And this publication, this book that I read, is very fantastic because it gives a totally different history of the Irish people than the modern textbooks. Completely different. And they have sources for these claims that they give. But they say that we originated from Jacob. We originated from Jacob on one side, and we originated from Hayek on the other. So the Celtic people, the Scottish, the Brittonic peoples, the Germanic, the Irish, these people have a very unique history. Modern textbooks say these people aren't even considered a people. It's really weird. And they just appeared here. There's no ethnogenesis story for them. So we used to have one, and they've been erasing it for over 100 years. So the original story, if you read the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle, if you read Venerable Bede, we originally came from Egypt, this area, and we came from Jacob and his descendants. And this one guy married one of Moses's daughters. It's like a crazy story. But originally, even the Egyptian people, the Coptic people, they come from Hayek. So there's a crazy story there. I mean, Moses Horonatsi, who is the Venerable Bede equivalent. Moses Horonatsi is the Armenian historian who details the pre-Christian era a lot. An amazing historian, gives the story of the Armenian people pre-Christ. We have Venerable Bede, who was a Celtic historian around the same period as Moses Horonatsi, and he details the Celtic history before Christ. And so our ethnogenesis began at Mount Ararat. It began in the Armenian highlands, and that's what all of our old texts, all the Germanic, all of the Celtic English texts said. We originate from the Armenian highlands. And it was one way or the other. It was either through Egypt or directly from the Armenian highlands, but one way or the other, we originated from there. Yeah. And in all of our Bibles, I have a copy of the 1611 edition King James, printed by King James printer, personal printer to the king. And it's a King James Bible, and in it, it has this beautiful picture of Noah's Ark on top of Mount Ararat. It says Mount Ararat on there, and it shows the tree of Noah's family. You know, the sons I said earlier, Ham, Shem, and Japheth.
I've seen it because I have an old King James Bible in my attic as well. I actually got it from an estate sale, and that I'm very familiar with that illustration because it doesn't say Mount Ararat. It actually says Armenia.
Yeah.
And then it has Noah's Ark.
But under it says Mount Ararat.
Does it really?
Yeah.
Okay, because I know it says Armenia.
It does say Armenia.
And then it has Noah's Ark, and then it has the basically the family tree, the lineage of Noah's family. It's a very, very beautiful illustration, and I've only seen that in the King James Bible. I haven't seen it in the other ones.
So I have the special certificate that goes with this Bible. It's over 400 years old. It's been very well maintained. It belonged to the royal house, not of Windsor, but of the one before. Mm-hmm. And anyway, this Bible, it's high value because of the condition that it's in and the signatures that are in that Bible. But at one point, all of Western Christendom knew we originated from Armenia. There wasn't a Celtic person, there wasn't a Britannic or Germanic person that didn't realize that we came from Mount Ararat, from Armenia. And this is how much social engineering that they have done to screw that up.
What religion do you follow now? Because I know you mentioned off air you were an evangelical Christian. Mm-hmm. You've gone to Armenia. You lived in Armenia for, you said 5 years on and off, right? 5 or 6 years on and off?
Yeah.
Have you and your family been following the Orthodox Armenian Christianity, or so you've converted basically into?
I wouldn't say we've converted yet. You can't say that till you've been baptized into the church or chrismated into the church, and there's a little bit of a process. I mean, the Armenian Orthodox Church isn't used to having white converts, especially in Armenia. Like, that just doesn't happen. So, but it's really funny because we have several wonderful priests and this bishop that I'm very close to in Armenia. And we have a very good relationship with them. And we are in the Baltarak services more than any Armenian family that I know in Armenia. We faithfully attend every Sunday. You know, a couple Sundays we went to a Christian non-denominational church in Armenia. They have an English service, and then they have an English translation. So it's fun for the kids to go to that youth group. That's a problem too, I would say.
Language barrier?
The language barrier is one thing. But even the Armenians have a language barrier with the Baltarak because it's in Karapar, you know. I can sing all the Sharakans from the entire Baltarak. I have them all committed to memory.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Tervogormia and Haimer and Surp and Surp Aspat, and I can do all of them. Yeah.
How is it like? I mean, what reaction do you get? I mean, now Armenia's changed quite a bit since, let's say, I've lived there, because back then the only people we saw that looked like you were Russians.
Right.
You didn't know what Scottish was, what Americans were, Asians, because there was none in Armenia at the time.
Yeah.
If we saw them in the movies, you know, let's say Bruce Lee, probably one of the first Asian people we ever saw. And so when you're walking around town with your family, you said you have 6 kids, so that's 8 of you strolling through Abovyan, Yerevan.
Well,
how do you? How are you?
I'm thinking they think he's Russian.
Yeah, well, this is a very funny story. But let me tell you first to answer your question. I feel like a king, and wherever I go, I feel like a king. And I look at my wife like she's a queen, and our daughters, they're the gemstones in my crown, which one day I'm going to cast at the feet of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Give him all the glory for everything in my life. Everything that he's done for me has been amazing.
So you have 6 daughters.
3 boys.
Oh, 3 boys and 3 daughters.
But they have gemstone names and Armenian names. So
your daughters have Armenian names. What are your daughters' names?
Well, the oldest one doesn't. Ruby Joy. In Armenia, we call her Rubina. You know, but we got Ruby Joy. We have Ani, which she's amazing. Her first name's Pearl. But in Armenia, they go by their Armenian names, you know. So we have Pearl, Ani, and the last one is Jade Nune.
Nune.
So we have Nune and we have Ani.
Rubina, Nune, Ani.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's really something. But I would say 99% of the people that see us there love that we're there, because there's nobody in this space. You won't find any that knows more about Armenian history, that loves our Armenian culture more than me, who supports the Armenian people. Yet I'm like an America First political advisor, So I'm living in both worlds. Yeah. I love my American tradition, my American culture. My children will be Americans. They love America. They will marry Americans. They will marry people that are inside of their culture, their tradition, their heritage. And I love Armenia because it's homogenous. And because they have their own religion, their own traditions, their own culture. It's Christianity, but it's unique. It's preserved. It's like a diamond in the rough. You know what I'm saying? And so you can go to another culture and appreciate those things and value those things at a super huge level, right? And still completely and totally identify with who you are and who you were born to be, and continue to preserve what you love. See what I'm saying? And so the left, I'll never forget, I was protesting what was going on in Nagorno-Karabakh, the blockade, and I was protesting outside of the Capitol. And this woman walks up to me, some white liberal woman, and I'm wearing Artsakh garb, outside the Capitol. So you got this white dude in Artsakh garb, and this like crazed liberal lunatic comes up to me, and she says to me, she's like, "That's cultural appropriation. Take it off. Take off that garb. You shouldn't be wearing African garb. That's totally not okay. Take off the African garb." And I was like, "Wait, you don't think white people wear colors too?" I'm like, "This is not African. I don't know what it is, but whatever it is, you're not that, and you should take it off right now." And I was like, "It is white people garb." And she's like, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah, it belongs to white people from the Caucasus Mountains. Do you know where the Caucasus is at?" And then she's like, "No." I was like, "You're an idiot. Just get away from me. Like, this is Armenian wear." She's like, "Are you Armenian?" I was like, "No." I was like, "But I'm white and I stand with them and I support them." She says, "That's cultural appropriation." No, I said, "It's cultural appreciation." That's different. That's different. You go to Glendale, it's like being in Armenia 2.0,
Yeah. Yeah.
You get to experience the culture, the richness.
See, the story he just said about the garb, right? It's funny. There was that one white guy who dressed as a Latino, as a Mexican, and then he went on to a university. I forgot which campus it was. And all the students were looking at him. They're going, "Whatever you're wearing is racist." He was wearing a poncho, a big sombrero.
Yeah.
He had the mustache going on. And he's like, "Whatever you're wearing is racist. Whatever you're wearing is racist." And then he went to an area where it was predominantly Latinos wearing the same outfit, walking up to people and asking them, "Hey, what do you guys think of my outfit?" Like, "Oh, pero we love it. It's nice. Oh, the sombrero. You want some tacos, tequila?" So it's kind of like, yeah. Those people appreciated that you appreciated their culture.
Right.
Wore the sombrero, wore the poncho, all that stuff. But it's always the angry white Karens that get involved in shit that they shouldn't be getting involved in.
Right.
Why? It's just mind-boggling to me.
This is why we need to repeal the 19th Amendment.
Oof, jeez.
Women should not vote.
That is at
all.
You should tell our next guest that.
Wow.
Yeah.
They should never, ever vote. And my wife agrees. She's like, "No, you should be voting as a household."
So one vote.
That's how that's how each household has one vote. That's it. And that household vote is made by the father of that household. Why? Because women have been behind every radical leftist issue in America: abortion, gay marriage, LGBTQ. The whole dysfunction of our society was pushed by women and Jews. So Jews can't vote at all, whether male or female. Like, we just have to stop Jewish people from voting. But like, women definitely can't, especially white women. Like, they just seem completely dumb. I'm sorry, white women, but just trust me on this. And let's go to Armenia, for example. Okay, like my wife is really conservative. She's so based. Like, I love her. She's my rock. She's my support. She's saying to like this Armenian woman, like she was complaining, I can't afford to have more than 2 children. You know, I really can't. And then she's like, well, maybe if you didn't buy a G-Wagon, you didn't get breast and butt augmentations and all that lip filler and Botox, you can afford a few more children.
She's not wrong.
It's true. It's a social and cultural issue. Like,
well, you know the saying, keeping up with the Joneses, right?
Now it's keeping up with the Kardashians, bro.
There you go, brother. There you go. It was literally a complete generational change of how women and men thought the family dynamic should be. And it's completely ruined everything. I mean, not to mention, obviously, going back to the 1950s and 60s when they took the woman out of the household and put her into the factories and into the working environment, and people could no longer live or sustain a household with one income, where the dad would work, they had the 30-year mortgage. By the time the dad was 60, 65 years old, the house was paid off, the kids were married off, you were basically sailing off into the sunset, the whole empty nester. Now it's the complete opposite. Now it's like, all right, you know what? Husband has to work, wife has to work. It's practically impossible to get insurance in California. Grocery prices are through the roof.
The government is raising your children.
The government is raising your children. And at this point, it's like, all right, when is it all going to change? And this is one reason why we're very disappointed in President Trump, because the Trump of 2016 is not the Trump of 2024.
Yeah, I was hoping he'd become a lot more based than he was in 2016 as well.
I mean, how do you do it with the family of 8?
How do I do it?
Yeah, that's essentially double the size of our families. We're all family of 4 here, and your family of 8, which is double.
Well, I'm a man, and I do not make excuses. I find solutions.
What are you trying to say? We're not men, Joel?
Are you making excuses?
I'm not making excuses.
Okay. How many kids do you have?
I have 2.
Okay. Stop making excuses. Let's have some more.
I think because, is it the Iowa life? Is that what it is? It's like pennies on the dollar compared to LA?
How much is gas in Iowa?
A lot cheaper than here.
There you go, man. I gotta pull a HELOC off my house to fill up a car.
So you just made my point. You're making excuses instead of finding solutions.
Look,
here's the thing. Here, let me just speak this out real quick. Okay.
Go ahead.
Because I come from a life of crazy poverty. I'm the 4th oldest of 17 children. Okay.
17?
My father didn't make enough to pay all the bills. Now, we had a big garden, so we never really starved, but he didn't have enough money to pay all the bills. He was making I think in 2008, he was making about approximately $30,000. By 2009, I was making $30,000. You see what I'm saying? I started working at the age of 10 years old. I started a lawn care business, a gardening business. I was known throughout the town. I was a part of the Farley Garden Club. That's where I grew up. And I helped everybody. I would take groceries to old people. I would do whatever they needed just so I could make a few extra dollars to bring home. And I would bring home all that money and give it to my parents. I needed more money. I needed to make more cash. When I was 15 years old, I started biking over 20 miles from Farley to Dubuque, Iowa on the Heritage Trail to go work at a hosta farm. Okay.
What's a hosta farm?
Like those plants. They got the big leaves on them, kind of shiny, shimmery, really nice. Like a little bush.
Yeah.
And I used to do cross-pollination and hybridizing there at that farm. Big words, I know. We used to work with the genetics of plants.
Yeah.
Do you have beehives as well? Beekeeper?
No.
Is that fancy for you? You had a cannabis plant? Is that
no. Cultivation.
Cultivation.
No, he's smiling. He knows what we're talking about.
No.
That's where the money was at.
In 2020.
There was actually more money in hosta plants at the time because we actually created new forms, new plants through cross-pollination and hybridizing. So basically we would take these rare species from Japan and from Germany and we would cross-pollinate. We would create another type of hosta plant that didn't exist. We could take hostas that didn't have any scent and give them scent and whatever.
Interesting.
It was amazing. So
kind of like breeding a bulldog with a Shih Tzu.
Yeah, something
like bullshit.
Yeah, that's an old one. Listen, I have 6 kids. I don't have as many dad jokes as you, bro.
Well, I'm a lot older than you too, so it's okay.
So there's actually a lot of money in that. But I used to bike total like over 40 miles 5 days a week during the entire summer at 15 and 16, just to be able to put enough money on the table to take care of my siblings, to make sure they weren't going without, to make sure that they had a pair of shoes on their feet. My father was not a go-getter. My father wasn't built like me. No disrespect to him. He doesn't have that mentality. My father would just make excuses. I can only make 30,000. He was satisfied with a temp job. He was satisfied with and he would do dumb, stupid things that you shouldn't do when you're in your 30s, like drink and drive and stuff and lose his license. And I don't make those mistakes because I looked at what he did. I said, I'm not going to do that. My kids are going to have it made. My children have been to 8 countries already. I'm a business owner. I own my own company. I own a foundation. I make a lot of money and I do what I can to support my family, you know? And I'm making sure that they live the life of service to other people. Like me, I served the elderly as a kid. I learned so many valuable life lessons from that. My kids are serving Armenian orphans, widows, Coptic orphans, widows. They're seeing the worst of humanity and the best of humanity. They're living life with servant leadership, okay, from a young age. And they're understanding what it's like to live in wealth and what it's like to serve the poor, you know? It's crazy. I mean,
it's a beautiful balance.
We were at the Multi-Grand Hotel. Shout out to Gagi Sarukian in Armenia. Love the guy. We were at that hotel and we got ourselves.
Is that in Albovian or where is it?
Yes, in Albovian. Yeah, it's right next to the Shangri-La Casino.
Oh,
and so we were staying in the villa and Gagi rolls up and he's like, "What? Joel is in the villa? No. Joel needs to be in the presidential suite." I mean, that's how much he honors us, you know? He honors our family.
You have a lot of respect in Armenia, basically.
I guess. Yeah, we do. And I mean, I respect the Armenians as much as they respect me. I respect their nation, their culture. And it's just it's a mutual feeling.
I mean, it's a noble thing what you're doing with your family as far as helping the widows, the children, because unfortunately there's far too many for such a small country. I mean, if you've been to Gyumri, which you probably have, you've seen the metal containers these families live in.
Well, in Spitak, it's worse.
Yeah, it's like after 38 years, almost 40 years, still living in the containers. Huh? Yeah. There's absolutely no development in that area.
There's not enough development. I don't know why there hasn't been more national resources put towards that area. You know, during the peace deal that Azerbaijan and the Armenia made, and Trump was part of brokering that, they have like this peace conference. You know what I'm talking about since then, the peace accords or whatever.
Yeah.
You know,
thanks to Kushner.
This is the one thing, like Nicole Pashinyan. This guy, he delegates, I don't know how many millions, was it millions or billions of dollars to this peace accord. And he says, we're not going to be the poor brother in this or something like that. And he donates all this money. I think that money could be, not to critique the prime minister, but I mean, if I were prime minister, I would be allocating those resources instead of to some peace deal. Like, you have issues in your country. Like, thank God he's fixing the roads. He's doing a good job of that. But like, these people are still living in these containers that were only supposed to be temporary shelters.
Yeah.
And they've been living in them for over 30 years since the earthquake. And in Spitak, you have disabled people serving disabled people.
Yeah.
I mean, there's this guy who was blind, deaf, had Down syndrome, you know, and he's he's disabled. He's in the wheelchair. And then you get some other guy who's like he was mentally retarded, mentally handicapped. And he's pushing this other guy in the wheelchair.
Yeah.
Because they don't have enough servants out there in Spitak. They don't have enough adults out there who are able of mind and body to serve.
Son of a...
What the hell was that, bro?
You okay?
Yeah, man. Oh, Megeredchian Law. We should call Alex.
If you've been injured in a car accident, slip and fall, or work injury, reach out to Megeredchian Law today.
At Megeredchian Law, we maximize your compensation, you get constant client communication, and we win when it matters most. When you're involved in an accident, choosing the right attorney is the most important decision you can make. Let us show you why we're different at Megeredchian Law. With 11 attorneys on our team, we're able to go to trial and fight for your case. More important, the pedigree of our firm is customer service, so you always get a call, you always get an update. Lastly, we're results driven. We win. Let us show you how. Call us at 818-530-1300 or bestcaraccidentattorney.com.
Technology should move your business forward, not hold it back. At Titan Elite IT Services and Consulting, we make sure it does. Our clients don't wait days for help. They get real-time answers, fast resolutions, and dedicated support, both on-site and remote. From Los Angeles to Orange and Ventura counties, our coverage is local, statewide, and nationwide. When you need us, we're already on the way. We're not just an MSP, we build with you. From cloud migration to security to every endpoint in your network.
At Titan Elite, we don't just solve problems, we prevent them from happening. We become a part of your team and we grow with you.
Titan Elite IT Services and Consulting. Strategic, scalable, trusted, and always on.
We are running short on time. We're definitely going to have you back, but let's end on this note. We're almost 2 years into Trump's candidacy or his presidency. We have an additional 2 years coming up. What do you see as far as possible, how would you word it, strategies when it comes to quote unquote America first? Do you see him supporting Americans, helping Americans with the groceries? What else? Gas prices. Just the cost of living, yeah. Or are we going to continue to dump money into the Middle East?
I think it's abundantly clear Trump promised to be America first. He said it will be only America first from here on out. It hasn't happened. He promised mass deportations. 100 million people are in this country that shouldn't be here. 100 million, not 20 million, 100 million.
Where do you get 100 million from?
I have friends that work in Homeland Security. There's 100 million people who shouldn't be here. Many of those millions are people on H-1B visas. They're not heritage Americans. They don't deserve to be here. They have no right to be here. They haven't earned citizenship. They haven't earned the visas. And these people aren't experts in their fields. These are people from the slums of freaking India who they offer nothing. They're running 7-Elevens. They're running Motel 6s.
Joel, 100 million is a number.
It's a huge number.
You're talking about a third of the country, basically.
Yeah.
At least according to the census.
There's 100 million people that shouldn't be in this country.
Yeah, but
and so let me get back to the question.
Sure.
And you guys can debate the numbers all day long. I'll get you some expert on this to be on your podcast that you could speak to directly.
We would love for somebody from, because we've been trying to get somebody from Homeland Security on.
I will get you somebody, an expert in the field. Okay, so this is absolutely insane. You have tens of millions. If you don't want to say 100 million, even 20 million is crazy. You have the allocation of resources, okay, that belong to the American people, going to people who it doesn't belong to. Like these people on the H-1B visas, you get 600,000 Indians living in Dallas, Texas area now. That's crazy.
Yeah, but let me cut you off there. You mentioned Indians 7-Eleven. They're contributing to the country. They're business owners, which is what this country was built on, is small business owners, right? Entrepreneurs. They're paying taxes. You can't own a 7-Eleven and not pay taxes. Why would you want people like that to be shipped out?
Well, first of all, if you go to the Frisco town hall meeting, we had a representative from Homeland Security that came. We had a member of the FBI who was there. I was just there with having a protest. And he said, look, there's a lot of fraud going on right now with the issuing of these H-1B visas. And we know people here are responsible for that. So there's a lot of fraud going on with this. There are many people coming in right now that should not be in this country ever at all. We have terrorists getting issued H-1B visas. We got people that are known members of terrorist groups. In India, even people are like, oh, well, the Hindus are peaceable people. No, they just burnt down 300 Christian churches in India. And this one sect of Hindus, like the main sect of Hindus, is very, not the Jainists, per se, not the Johns, but the
Sikhs?
not Sikhs, regular Hindus. They are the worst when it comes to Christianity. They hate Christians. They persecute Christians. I have a friend, praise him. He's a pastor. He's an evangelist, one of the top evangelists. He is the number one evangelist in India right now. And he sent me photo after photo of these pastors that are in his network that have been beheaded and killed by Hindus. Why are we bringing these people into our country? They're violent. They don't assimilate. They don't learn our language. They don't learn our culture. They're having more children than white people are. Hindus have a ton of kids. Okay. My brother married an Indian woman. He has 5 children with her. The difference between her and the ones that are coming in, brother, she converted to Catholicism. She attends a church with my brother. Okay. Instead of looking for a mosque, she became Christian. She assimilated. Her kids don't speak Hindi. They speak English. You see what I'm saying? So we're not seeing that level of assimilation. And you can't. When you're doing mass replacement, that's what's going on. Because it's not, can't call it immigration. This is what the Jews are doing to Armenia. That's what they're doing here. They're mass replacement. They're bringing in hordes of people who have no common societal elements. They don't have a common language. They don't have a common religion. They don't have a common history, shared history. They have nothing in common with America. America belongs to white Christian Europeans. That's it. That's it. Armenians get a pass, but aside from that, like, listen, we fought the Alamo. We kicked the Mexicans out. Like, we fought the wars with the Indians, the Indian American wars. These people were savages, the ones that we were fighting with. We did make treaties with the peaceable ones. Those guys have reservations today, and those reservations were made by treaties. We paid for that. Okay? We paid for the land that we took. Every single one was paid for. The ones that were violent, hostile, we kicked their ass. We destroyed them. Okay? The Mexicans, same thing. My ancestors fought in the Alamo. They were among the original 300 in Texas. I'm a relative of Sam Houston and David Crockett. You know, they're ex-mini grandfathers, 5 greats or 6 greats or whatever it is. But we have them in our family tree. They are great grandfathers in our family. So we have this heritage. We have this culture. We have a value system that these people don't have. Every single one of them needs to go. Every single one of them. And like with the Armenians too, if you're involved in fraud, you're involved in these different things, get the heck out of our country. I love Armenians, but listen, we don't want anybody in this country that's committing crime. So you feel the same way.
Oh, absolutely. No. When I don't know fraud.
Yeah,
I don't know one Armenian who's like, listen, if there's some guy who's committing crimes that should still continue.
In that case, we gotta ship out 98% of the politicians in office right now. They're all committing trillions of dollars.
No. With what's going on with Israel and everything else that they're doing,
it's not just Israel. You know, it's not just.
I know it's not just Israel. It's everybody. I mean, you look at Mike Pence. He was getting handouts from the Turkish government.
It's everything.
I mean, all these. Mike Pence, our former VP.
Look, you know what we've said about these politicians? These politicians need to start wearing jackets just like these NASCAR drivers. Every single donor that donates to these politicians should have a nice patch on their jacket, and that's how these politicians should be. There should be
zero donation. It should be, listen, you're running for example, California governor, right? We're going to allocate based on the population, based on the size of the state. For instance, federal government is putting 100 million into the RNC, 100 million into the DNC, for example. You're running in Rhode Island, much smaller state, we're putting 15 million into DNC, RNC account. This is all you can spend. Not okay, I'm going to take some money from the Koch brothers. I'm going to take some from AIPAC, from God knows, the Lesbian Foundation. We don't need that shit. All we need to do is, it's not just about Israel. It's just most, if not all politicians are corrupt, man. I mean, look at California. Look at our governor, our LA mayor. Everybody's stealing millions and billions of dollars from taxpayers' money. At the end of the day, what do we have to show for it? Oh yeah, we have the 4th largest economy in the world, and
a lesbian foundation.
Yeah, we're living like, I mean, you could make $1 million in LA today, and you're not considered nowhere near rich or comfortable 100%. At all. Zero.
Yeah.
$1 million, that means you still owe the government another $4 million a year.
and Israel another 20,000.
What people don't say real quick, what they don't tell you is not only are we federally funding Israel, we are doing it state with our state governments and city governments.
Bro, we're funding everybody besides ourselves. Look at the shithole of California that we're living in right now. Look at New York.
Bro, there's a reason why I won't move here.
And look at certain parts of Texas and Florida as well.
100%.
It's a complete shithole. But you look at foreign countries like Ukraine, like Israel, and some of these countries that we're funding, they have free education, they have free travel, they have free 401ks. And at whose expense? Our expense, our tax dollars.
Name one city that's not a white majority city in America that you would want to live in.
Glenda's not a majority white.
Yeah.
Is it considered?
I mean, I consider Armenians have the same haplogroup, so it's very hard because some of them, they literally look like Indians, you know, like in some of them, they kind of like, don't you tell me
Armenians look like Indians?
There are a few of them.
Bro, come on. I have no idea what kind of Armenians you're looking at, bro.
No. Some of them are very dark skinned. You know what I'm saying?
No. That's them coming back from Mexico from vacation, bro. I don't know what you're talking about. Armenians are we're pretty much fair skinned. I mean, look. You have 1, 2, 3, 4 Armenians in the room right now. None of us.
95%. They get a pass.
99%,
bro.
Come on, bro.
Listen, there's some.
Have you been to the villages? There's some dark ones.
Yeah, bro. I've been.
They look Indian, bro.
Listen,
they're pretty dark in the villages.
They're pretty dark.
Come on, man.
They're out in the fields when sunrise, and then sundown they go home. So
yeah, and some of them, and listen, some of them are actually just Yazidis. But like, if you ask them, "Are you Armenian?" They're like, "Yeah, I'm Armenian," because they live in Armenia, but they're not actually Armenian. You know, we call them Turkas. You know,
look, Armenians prior to 1915, when unfortunately the Armenian genocide took place, and a lot of Turks, you would say, kind of mixed into the Armenian bloodline.
Before that, the Mongolians during the Megeredchian dynasty.
Well, the Turks are Mongols, but that's another story in itself.
Yeah, but the Turks, when they started taking over, was later after the Mongolians. So what happens is you have like the Turks. They're just
Tartars. The Tartars.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, exactly. They're Tartars, but they had already raped and pillaged every single Christian country almost by that point.
A lot of Armenians looked exactly like you.
Yeah, I know. Read Moses Horonatzi. He said Hayek was blonde hair, blue eyed. I was like, Hayek's just come back to Armenia, baby. Listen, to answer this question that you had for me real quick, and then we can wrap this up.
Please.
What does the next 2 years look like under President Trump? This is the next 2 years. In the next 2 years, we're going to see more riots from the left. We're going to see more social justice warriors. We're going to see everything that this administration does will not be for the American people. It'll be for the H-1Bs that are coming in. It'll be for Israel. It will be for Ukraine. It will be for everybody else but Americans. We're going to see the collapse of the Democrat Party. We're seeing it right now. And the Republican Party. The America First movement is going to rise, and that's going to be made up of people who are majority Christian, radical, fanatics like myself. And I mean, I just think I sound like I'm bringing common sense most of the time. But that's what's going to happen. We're going to see a total destruction of the political structure as we see it today, as we've known it for many, many decades. There's a radical shift happening in this country. Everybody has the same algorithm. And let me tell you what, I am part of the reason why everybody has the same algorithm, because we all got together one day, all the America First people I know, and we said, what if we just started posting all the historical facts, which are like the counter history to the narratives that we've been presented, and we start arguing these political talking points all together at the same time. When you do that, we understand how algorithms work. We understand how data processing works. We can actually social engineer an entire generation.
And that's what's happening.
And that's what's happening.
We've noticed it
because
in the algorithms.
Every single person, if they open up their Instagram, they have the same exact algorithm. Every single one. Every single one is being red-pilled right now. And it's because a lot of Christian patriots got together and we said, we're done with it. Christians need to rise up. We need to take a stand. And what happens is people are getting to see a side of history they never saw before. They're getting to see a side of realities they never even thought of. And the reality is, if people are not conscious to these things, you don't change the national interest. And if you don't change the national interest, you will not shift state and foreign policy. It's impossible. You have to actually have the minds of the people.
Well, the great thing about this is it's being recorded. It's going to air soon. And we're kind of going to hold you accountable for that whole Democratic and Republican Party collapse.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting. I mean, in all honesty, I think this whole two-partisan system is bullshit because you're either on the right, you're on the left. There is no center. There is no common sense.
Well, the America First is the center because everything is for the interest of the American people. Okay? We have bills we have to pay. Yes, gas, food, that's expenses. Those expenses are real, but I don't know anybody my age or younger that owns a home.
Yeah, it's practically
Not one.
Yeah, it's getting more and more impossible. And Armon said it as well in the past. He actually said it a couple episodes ago. Will his children or my children be able to afford a home in the future? Probably not.
And we're paying into Social Security, and we're not going to benefit from it.
We're not going to see Social Security, Joel. We're not going to see it. But listen, we got to have you back on, man. There's a lot. We can go on for hours with you, but we got another episode.
He's going to be in Iowa till September.
Yeah,
we can fly him
come
out.
back.
Maybe we can
We'll send you the private jet.
Yeah, maybe we can go to Iowa.
The hostel, not hostel, the hostel farm. How do you pronounce it?
Hostel,
yeah.
Hostel farm.
Meet your 16 siblings.
Yeah, it'd be crazy.
Jesus Christ, bro. 16 siblings. That's insane. We appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much for taking time out of your very busy schedule to be with us. It's great to see you in person and off of this damn thing, huh?
Well, it's good to get to know one another.
Absolutely.
And then you don't have a way to do that if you're just watching people's reels all the time. You got to have them over.
Doom scrolling.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
doom scrolling.
Next time, hopefully, you invite me for some Armenian barbecue, some horovats.
Hell yeah, man. We'll do it. We'll do something. Definitely.
Yeah, and some karas or something,
Well, you were mingling with the Hollywood elite, so you didn't have time for us.
I was very busy there.
Yeah. Joel, thank you so much, man.
Appreciate
it, brother. Everybody, today's episode will be up and running on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all major platforms mañana. Have a great week. Have a great weekend. And we'll see you guys all next week.